经历 experience. So what about 经验 experience again? So when do we use 经历 and when do we use 经验? They call it learning, we say it's fun. Welcome to Fun Mandarin 玩中文。大家好 I'm Bryan. 经历 and 经验 are both translated as experience in English, but in Mandarin we use them differently. So, in this episode of our This or That series, we're gonna clear up this common lost in translation moment. First up, let's break them down character by character. 经历 and 经验. Notice anything they have in common? That's right. They both start with 经. 经 literally means to go through. The second character 历 in 经历 is about a sequence of time or events. So, 经历 usually talks about personal journey you've gone through, like events, situations, or experiences you've had. The focus is on what happened to you. On the other hand, in 经验, the second character 验 means to test or to verify. So, 经验 is more like to go through something and then test it out. That means you've learned something from what happened to you. Now that we've got the literal meanings down, the best way to really lock it in is to see them in action. I'll show you some dialogues with blanks for 经历 or 经验. Note down your answers and then we'll check them together along with some handy tips. Let's start with Eric asking Greg about his travel experience. 你去过这么多国家旅游，最难忘的是什么啊？去年我去日本玩，亲身了地震。原本安排好的泡汤行程，全都泡汤了。哎呀，不过有了这次，你一定很有应对地震的。So, Eric starts by asking Greg, 你去过这么多国家旅游，最难忘的是什么啊？ What's the right word for experience in this sentence? 经历 or 经验? Spot on. It should be 经历 because Eric is asking about things that actually happened to Greg on his past trips. Did you notice the word 过 in Eric's sentence? 你去过这么多国家旅游. Here, 过 is used after 去 to make 去过, which means have been to. This shows it's a past experience. If you'd like to review how 过 works in Mandarin, check out this episode to find out more examples and tips later. Back to the dialogue. Greg says, 亲身了地震. Which one fits here? 经历 or 经验? Since Greg is talking about something he personally went through, which is the actual earthquake, 经历 is the right choice. Here's a quick question for you. In English, experience can be a noun or a verb. Is 经历 the same? Yes. Take two of the 经历 in this dialogue as examples. The first 经历 in Eric's question is a noun. The second 经历 in Greg's answer is a verb. It's an action. We can tell it's a verb because it's followed by 了, which indicates the action was completed, and Greg just said it happened last year. If you're not sure about how 了 works, take a look at the tips in this episode later. Now, after hearing Greg's hot spring getaway fell through, Eric replies, 有了这次，你一定很有应对地震的。Whoa, two experienced blanks. But no worries, we'll take them one at a time. The first experience. Eric wanna talk about what Greg went through. Should it be 经历 or 经验? Yes, it's 经历 again. The second experience. Eric assumes Greg now has the experience or skills to handle earthquakes. Is it 经历 or 经验? Exactly, it's 经验, because it's what Greg learned from the event, not what happened to him. Next up, we're going to check out Blake in a job interview. See if you can figure out when to use 经历 or 经验。你在电视台的工作还真丰富啊！是啊，我有10年制作英国烘焙大赛的。不过，我们店要找的是有烘焙的师傅，不是节目制作人啊。虽然我没什么烘焙的，但我有节目制作的，保证说的比做的还香。The interviewer Paul was really impressed with Blake's experience in TV. He says, 你在电视台的工作还真丰富啊。Is it 经历 or 经验? That's right, it's 经验. Because Paul is talking about Blake's professional skills and knowledge from working at a TV station. If you use 经历, it's more like saying you've been through a lot of things at a TV station, but it doesn't really emphasize skills or what you've learned. The same logic applies to Blake's response. 我有10年制作英国烘焙大赛的。This experience definitely refers to 经验, not 经历, because he's talking about his skills, not just the events he's been through. From Paul's reaction, we can tell Blake is applying for a baker position. 我们店要找的是有烘焙的师傅。烘焙 means baking, and 师傅 or 师傅 is a respectful term for someone skilled in a craft or trade. So the store is looking for someone with baking experience. Here, the experience is 经历 or 经验. Clearly, it's 经验 because it means the skills and expertise learned from work. Even though Paul shuts down Blake's chance, Blake stays confident. He says, 虽然我没什么烘焙的 Blake means he doesn't have much baking experience. Is this experience 经历 or 经验? Exactly, it's 经验 because he's talking about his lack of baking skills. Then he adds he spent 10 years producing shows. 但我有做节目的。Is this 经历 or 经验? Here, 经历 is a better choice because Blake is talking about what he actually went through while making the baking show, like being on set, working with bakers, and watching the process. If you chose 经验 instead, it would mean Blake is emphasizing the skills he learned from producing shows. But because Blake is contrasting the time he spent producing shows with his baking skills, using 经历 fits better, especially because he finishes with 保证说的比做的还香. This punchline shows that although Blake cannot really bake, just being around the baking show gave him enough experience to talk about it like a pro. Now, I believe you're more confident about when to use 经历 and when to use 经验. Our final example is in the context of investment. Watch for the blanks with 经历 and 经验, and see another word, 体验, in the conversation. 过2008年的金融危机，你现在还敢投资啊？那次惨赔的让我体验到了投资失败的痛苦，也学到了很多宝贵的 也是啦，了才有嘛。不过你还是比我勇敢，这种体验我一次就怕了。所以我的投资金句就是饭不能乱吃，钱更不能乱投资。So, the dialogue between Frankie and Richie is about their experiences during the 2008 financial crisis, 金融危机 or 金融危机 means financial crisis. But when referring specifically to the one in 2008, you might also hear 金融海啸. 海啸 literally means tsunami, showing just how huge the impact was worldwide. That's why Frankie wonders, after experiencing the 2008 financial crisis, does Richie still dare to invest? 过2008年的金融危机 Is it 经历 or 经验? Yes, it's 经历 because Frankie is talking about the experience of going through the financial crisis. 经历 is used as a verb here, followed by 过, which means have gone through. Richie replies, 那次惨赔的 is 经历 or 经验. Since Richie is talking about the painful loss he actually went through, it's definitely 经历. Then Richie adds, 让我体验到了投资失败的痛苦. So this painful experience made Richie 体验 the pain of losing in an investment. But what exactly does 体验 mean? If you check Google Translate or a dictionary, just like 经历 and 经验, 体验 also translates as experience. But let's break it down. 体验 has 验, like in 经验, which means to test or to verify. What about 体? 体 literally means body. So, together, 体验 means trying something yourself and feeling how it is. It's about how you feel, not what you learn or the skills you get. Look at this sentence again. Richie has truly felt the pain of losing in an investment. Using 体验 as personally feel or truly experience captures the meaning well. But then he says, 也学到了很多宝贵的 Is it 经历 or 经验? It's certainly 经验 because that means the know-how and knowledge he picked up from investing. Frankie's response sums up the difference between 经历, 经验 and 体验 really well. 了才有嘛. The first experience is certainly 经历 because it refers to going through the failed investment. We can tell 经历 is used as a verb here, and 了 shows that the action is completed. What about the second experience? 经历 or 经验? That's right, it's 经验, meaning after going through something you get skills and knowledge. We can tell Frankie is still a bit traumatized because he says, 这种体验我一次就怕了. He uses 体验 here instead of 经历 or 经验 to highlight how he personally felt going through it. Here's the quick takeaway. 经历 focuses on what happened to you, the event or the process itself. 经验 is what you have learned from it, the skills, knowledge, and know-how you picked up. 体验 is about your personal feelings and sensations. Function-wise, 经历 and 体验 can be used as verbs or nouns, but 经验 is usually just a noun. I put these key points into a simple chart you can download from my Ko-fi page. It's perfect for review and future reference. You'll also find other resources and fun posts there. Make sure to follow me on Coffee so you won't miss any updates. That's all for today. If you enjoy the This or That series, please give me a thumbs up or leave a comment below. More episodes will be coming soon. 谢谢收看 Fun Mandarin 玩中文，我们下次见。